Over 1,700 new millionaires are created every single day in the US alone, and more than double that across the globe. They're people from all walks of life, most of them people just like you and I. So the big question is this: how are so many people who didn't inherit money or have any special advantages overcoming the odds and becoming millionaires? That's the question, and this show will give you the answers. My name is Jeff Lerner, and welcome to Millionaire Secrets. Welcome to another episode of Millionaire Secrets. Your host, Jeff Lerner, with you as always. And I am joined today in the virtual studio by the inimitable Sue B. Zimmerman. I was going to just rock that word and then I butchered it. Anyway, Sue, welcome to Millionaire Secrets.
Great to be here. And it's really exciting to be here, especially since today is Instagram's 10th birthday. So there's that.
I had no idea that, I guess theoretically every platform has a birthday. Today's the 10 year.
Yeah.
So 10/6/10 was the founding date of Instagram.
Yeah.
That was when some 19-year-old kids at a coffee shop hit publish to their FTP site or whatever.
Whatever. I made a pretty successful career out of it, teaching. Yeah. So I'm grateful. It's like, you never know what's going to happen in 10 years because things just don't even exist that you could be a part of, right?
Yeah, I remember when Instagram came on the scene. It was like this thing that you posted pictures to, and it kind of was like this fringe thing. Who really knew? But it actually makes so much sense because the internet's such a visual medium that by removing everything else and just leaving the pictures, it would be what it is. So I did a really horrible job of introducing you, so I'm going to correct that. I got so rattled by my butchering of the word inimitable that I didn't do a great job. So for everyone who's listening, Sue is really a world-class Instagram consultant. She has a big brand around it. She has an agency. She speaks on stages all over the world. I just found out that she literally set up Russell Brunson's Instagram profile. Most of my listeners know who Russell Brunson is. And you said you were speaking at an event with him and you just took his phone and did it for him. Is that right?
Yeah, we were in the back room and he wasn't on Instagram yet. He's like, I don't even know if I should get on Instagram. I'm like, you go speak, give me your phone and I'll get you hooked up.
Well,
so that was the beginning of his.
Yeah, 600,000 followers later, clearly it was a good step for him.
Yeah, he is triple the amount of followers as I do. He's very impressive to watch on Instagram and he does it right. He brings you into his world. He shows you a lot about his values. He shares his family and his business, and he basically takes us with him. It's essentially a TV show and you get to turn it on and off whenever you want. Yeah,
so he does do that, and he's somebody that I've watched and tried to be influenced by in terms of my approach to Instagram. I will tell you, and I'll tell the audience, I'm very selfishly excited right now to have you on my show. I told you before we hit record that if you weren't on my show, I would just buy you lunch and try to have almost the same conversation that I'm hoping we have here, which is just Instagram is such an enigma to most people.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping we can de-enigmatize it.
Well, let's start with, when I started teaching Instagram over 8 years ago, there was 140 million monthly active users. And now there's probably 1.5 billion. That number hasn't come out. They haven't updated their stats in a year, but last update was over 1 billion monthly active users. And I always like to say that, Instagram is now this village. It's a village with neighborhoods, and there are 5 neighborhoods. When I started teaching, there was just the feed, and now there's the feed and stories and IGTV and Instagram Live, and now there's Reels. So there's 5 places where you can amplify, promote, broadcast your voice, your mission, your purpose, your business, your brand, your philanthropy, your movement. And you can do it in very creative ways by this free app called Instagram.
Yeah. So, and I will have you know, I did my very first reel this morning. And it was just, what are they, 15 seconds?
Well, they're now 30. They just added a update as of last week to make them 30 seconds. If you want to, you can choose between 15 or 30.
Oh man, if only I'd known, because I was just me playing some piano and it cut me off so fast. I should have switched it to 30. You know, this is why the work is never done. You're always learning new things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that, you know, again, knowing the audience and just a little sort of context for you. I mean, my audience is very entrepreneurial. It's very sort of marketing oriented. A lot of established entrepreneurs, a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs. And I think, again, because of the mystery that is Instagram, we all sit here and just kind of scratch our heads going, should I do this? Or if I'm doing this, am I doing it right? Am I doing it effectively? So if you're okay with it, I'm thinking like a very interesting way to approach this conversation would be almost like, can I just ask you the questions that I would ask you if you were like my Instagram consultant? Because it's probably going to bring up a lot of what everybody deals with anyways.
Sure. And I can go down best practices, best tactics, what you need to do first. I mean, I can talk about any aspect of it. And just to clarify to the audience, I don't have an agency. I have a team of 12. I don't manage people's Instagram accounts. I have an online course called Ready, Set, Gram, where I have thousands of students. And I also have Ready, Set, Gram Pro, where I coach students to become the go-to authority to build an online business using Instagram as the marketing tool. And Instagram is literally the marketing tool of the decade. And when done correctly, you can grow your authority, you can grow an audience, you can attract awesome leads, you can grow a YouTube channel, as I frequently do with mine, and you can grow your email list, and you can really use it as a place to build that trust and build community.
Well, apologies about the agency slip. Literally, as soon as I said it, I was like, wait, my notes said coaching, not agency. So I'm glad.
It's fine. I just want to make sure. I don't want anyone like calling me like to hire me or to think that they can hire me, because I'm $1,000 an hour, and that's probably not going to happen.
Although I will say, given some of my frustrations with Instagram, I might have paid you $1,000 an hour to just save me some time. But yeah, so a course and a coaching program, which I'm excited to actually go into myself. Like I want to look at your course, because I know I've learned enough about Instagram to be a little bit dangerous and to realize how clueless I actually was, and to a large degree still am.
Yeah. So what you just shared about your reel playing piano, which is all fine and dandy, but that has nothing to do with your authority or your business. So it makes zero sense to do it just playing piano. What would make more sense is to be talking about something specific that your audience has as a pain point while playing piano, or making sure that you had text on it that represents something that you teach to your audience. So just simply playing the piano, what I usually say to my clients is, great, good for you. You play the piano. What's in it for me?
Well, I will tell you. So actually, since we're talking about it, I'll show it to you. I have text on there that says, back on the morning piano grind after 6 weeks off nursing a wrist injury. What do you do that isn't, quote, what you do? And
so that's better as a story with a poll.
Okay. So here was my thought, and this is a good segue into the conversation here. Like, my platform is very much around holistic life excellence. You know, as we were sort of lightheartedly discussing before we again hit record, people always come to me because they're like, well, how do I make lots of money? Right. Because I know that you were broke and you cracked the code. And so what do I do? And I'm like, it's the least interesting thing for me to talk about, which is ironic because I have a show called Millionaire Secrets, but like, the money is the lagging indicator of excellence and a commitment to living well and doing well and giving a massive amount of value. And I'm always saying that how you do one thing is how you do everything. I get up early. I practice the piano the same way I run my business. I go to the gym. That's how I hurt my wrist, was at the gym. So my world, my story, my narrative, they kind of know, like, oh, Jeff's been off the piano for 6 weeks because he hurt his wrist at the gym because he gets up too early and doesn't sleep enough probably. And like, so it kind of weaves in, but
yeah.
Tell me what your thought.
Yeah, so that would have been really good in a story. Like I said, the thing about Reels is that Instagram is really pushing it in the algorithm, both Reels and IGTV. So most people following you, people will see that, but you will get discovered potentially in the as Instagram pushes out Reels to more and more audiences. And I don't know if you use hashtags. I don't know the strategy beyond what you just shared in that reel. But what the most important thing about a reel is sharing a quick hack, tip, resource, information. So someone says, oh my God, I just walked away learning that. And it was only 15 seconds. It was only 30 seconds of my time. This is great. I'm coming back the next time you drop another reel. So, because you can, when you start a reel, you have a reel channel on your Instagram, just like you have an IGTV channel. So again, it's a place to build that trust and authority in your niche. And so for me, if you look at my account, The Instagram Expert, if you look at my channels, every single thing I do is with such great intention around various pieces of content that I share and create based on the values, my core values of my business, my interests, the way I teach, the way I educate, the way I speak, my entrepreneurship, because I'm a lifelong entrepreneur. I had my first $1 million business when I was 22. So I have a lot of stories, which is essentially what Instagram is, sharing your story, and people relate to your stories if you're telling the truth. And a lot of people don't on Instagram. So there's that. But I always am thinking, does this give my viewer a glimpse into one aspect of my life or my business or my core values where they can feel more intimately connected to me? Because I love the word intimacy when it comes to Instagram, because you are opening up and you are sharing boldly to a global audience. Because, I like once you're on social media, it's kind of can go viral, can go global. And so I'm very cognizant of the details, the nuances, the strategies around every single thing I do, not just on Instagram, but when I speak on stage, when I teach in a training, when I post on Facebook, when I send a tweet. There's all these little Subi-isms that are representational of my brand and staying top of mind and being consistent.
So you mentioned there's 5, what did you call them? 5 neighborhoods, right? There was the feed, there was stories, there was IGTV, there's Reels, which are the newest neighborhood. And what was the 5th?
Instagram Live.
And Instagram Live. Okay. Which ends up like they store that in the IGTV repository, right? But
if you choose to. So for all your listeners, every Monday I go live at 3 p.m. EST. I'm going to talk through a strategy.
Okay.
And I go live to amplify the YouTube video that I dropped. So every Monday morning I drop a new YouTube video. What is that? That's content. What is that? That's being consistent. What is that? That's staying top of mind and being an authority in my niche, which is teaching Instagram to small business owners, essentially. And so mostly women, I'll add that too. We know exactly who our avatar is. Mm-hmm. So with that said, I have conditioned my audience to show up live because I do not save my Monday Subi Live in my feed as an IGTV. Because I create FOMO. I have guests that come on. I have a sponsor. I have call to actions where I get more engagement on Instagram to give away a free app or a selfie light or something that is relevant to my audience. And I create community, as I said earlier. So people show up, they connect with each other, they see on Instagram other people commenting that were on that live, and they're able to grow their community and grow their Instagram account simply by connecting with other people. My goal is to drive traffic to YouTube, to my YouTube channel, to my YouTube video, because on YouTube, the algorithm really kicks in for a whole 24 hours after you post. And YouTube's owned by Google, so I get found in search all the time. And my channel grows, sometimes 100 subscribers a day versus, Instagram about 1,000 every 2 weeks. So I go live to do what I just said, to amplify that content that amplifies the authority as a leading Instagram educator and builds that trust. And so I use live strategically for that purpose. And then I'll do a live this Thursday. I'm doing a live with a video expert, and I'm going to save it in my feed as an IGTV, and it will be more scripted, and it will only be 8 minutes instead of 45, because no one's going to watch more than 8 minutes of an IGTV. I'd like it to be even less if possible. So whenever I do save it to my feed, I'm thinking about the replay viewers versus a live where there's banter and you're looking at comments and you're engaging with your audience. And this will be more evergreen. So my graphic designer will create a graphic cover that will be on brand specifically for that IGTV that will live in my feed and live in my channel. So I hope that helps your audience kind of understand strategy behind going live. It's never random where I'm pressing live like I used to on Periscope. I would go live like every day on Periscope, and that really grew my audience as well, but I'm not there at all anymore. But I learned how to talk to my audience live and really connect, like I said, more intimately with my followers.
Yeah, that really helps. So it seems like with every neighborhood, so to speak, and I love that term. Thank you for that. I'm totally stealing it.
It's called the Sue B neighborhoods, so it's kind of branded.
the Sue B neighborhoods. Well, it makes perfect sense. I mean, it's a great way to describe them because they are all interconnected, but they also have pretty discrete locations and boundaries and nuances.
There's some people that just use one neighborhood consistently, and they're rock stars at stories or reels or IGTV, and they don't really venture. I mean, you have to create content in your feed to build that authority and trust no matter what. If your feed does not match up to the promise that you're making in your bio, no one's going to figure out who you are and what you do. It's your job to let people know in a way that's extremely clear and obvious. So if your content isn't matching up in the feed, most likely they're not going to head into another neighborhood to consume your content.
You have me wanting to obsessively peruse my own feed and see if I've answered that question. So, which I will do later. I won't do it right now. It's bad form. But can we kind of talk through the 5 neighborhoods? Here's what I'm selfishly, again, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a gold mine. Let's talk through the 5 neighborhoods and understand what are the nuances, what are the best practices, and what are the differences?
Sure. So let's start with the bio, because everything starts with the bio. So I'm going to use a magazine as an analogy. I have another good analogy. So here I am on the cover of a magazine, Women Who Create Women Create Business. So just like when you pick up a magazine and buy a magazine, the promise that's made on the cover, when you flip through that magazine, if the content inside is not there based on what you said on the cover, most likely someone's not going to pick up that magazine again and buy it. So the bio on Instagram, this is where you show up and you make it really explicit. Who do you help? Why are you qualified? And what transformation will they have? And then you need to have a CTA, a call to action. What's the action you want them to take? So for me, on Mondays, I'm driving traffic to YouTube. At the end of Tuesday, I switch it to Linktree, which is a tool that you can have multiple links, and I'll drive traffic to my free evergreen 3 keys training that we want people to watch, because at the end of that training, we have an offer for Ready, Set, Graham. I also direct people to our free Instagram strategy guide, which also builds our email list. So we're always thinking, how can we strategically build our email list, which is essentially, honestly, the gold of our business. The list is the size of our list. As it gets bigger, the more money that we continue to make.
So the bio is the starting point, and what you would consider that part of the feed.
No, the bio is the bio. So now
it's like the sixth neighborhood almost.
No, it's not. It's not the neighborhood. It's the anchor of all of what you say, who you are, what you do. And anyone can write any kinds of words. And, it's easy to really see how truthful people are. You can Google their name and find out, is this even true? But yes, so you create the perfect bio. I call it a boss bio. And then you do what we teach in our course, which is create content buckets. So content buckets or visual buckets are essentially what I said earlier, your core values, the things that your ideal client customer would want to see from you. Mm-hmm. And this can infuse some of the content that has to do with your personality. And often the visuals, or the photos or the videos can bridge a gap with the description. So the description doesn't literally have to match up to what you're looking at. You can write written words that are analogies or represent those visuals in some way. For example, here in downtown Boston, when I look out the window and I see skyscrapers, you can talk about the reflection of a skyscraper and that you're reflecting on life. Or, someone's standing tall. My clients are standing tall, standing out like a skyscraper, and have it be a photo of the Prudential Center or the Hancock Building or something fabulous. So content buckets, we suggest our clients have 5 to 7, and you rotate those buckets. One of those content buckets for most everyone I work with is testimonials. Are there clients and happy customers in your business? Because if there aren't, you're not really in business. Right. And so what kind of results have they gotten from your product or your service? And those are rotated in a branded, consistent way. And for my Instagram account, since I am the face behind the brand, my face is in pretty much every photo, and people identify with me. And, some people say, hey, you look like Barbara Streisand. And I'm like, cool, I like her. It's like, people talk about my smile. They talk about my energy. They talk about my potty mouth or whatever it is. And all of that, again, makes people feel like they know me and they're connected to me. So there's strategy there again. So with these content buckets, you would use those are the only thing that you would share. You wouldn't talk about your kids and your workouts if it has nothing to do with your business. Can you show that? Absolutely, in your stories and in your feed if you tie it back to your business. And you just have to make sure that it always aligns with what's in it for them. What's in it for your customer? I could care less that you're on this fabulous vacation on $1 million yacht. Good for you. Have a great life. Like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't impress me. It doesn't help me. It doesn't interest me, because it's your life, and you always have to think, how can you help the person that really needs what you have to offer? And so a lot of people don't get that right on Instagram. That's a big mistake. With that said, these same principles apply in every single neighborhood. These content buckets, once you've established them, that's what you kind of rotate through. In my IGTV channel, I have you can create series. It's kind of like a YouTube channel. You can have different playlists. You can have a series. I have different series based on health and wellness. I have a degree in nutrition. Health and wellness is really important to me. I also have one based on business tips, Instagram, products that I love, brands that I love. So I have different series of content there. But again, it all matches up to stories you might have heard about me on stage or on a podcast interview, or, I remember when Sue talked about that. I mean, you and I, when we were in the green room, you said you knew something about my store and where I discovered Instagram, which is true. I discovered the power of Instagram marketing from my seasonal retail shop that I had on Cape Cod. And so people are like, oh, I have a store. oh, she did it, she had success on Instagram. Well, then I'm going to trust her. Like those stories matter. So anyway, all of this can be applied to each neighborhood. Again, each neighborhood has different nuances and ways for you to attract your ideal follower, which is what everybody wants to do. And people buy followers just to get the 10,000 swipe. And then they come to me crying because their account doesn't get any kind of reach because all you have are bots and fake followers, and there's that. So I get that every day in the DM. I also get people losing their account because they haven't turned on two-factor authentication, which is the YouTube video that I just dropped yesterday. So make sure your listeners get hold of that YouTube video, because I can't even tell you how many times people message me and say they lost their account. So 5 neighborhoods, 5 ways to create content. Each has their own nuances. We don't have time to go into all of them, but in Ready, Set, Graham, there are 9 lessons, and I literally take you through this process. So it's progressively understanding from simple to more difficult, simple being the feed, number 2 being stories, number 3 being IGTV, number 4 being live, and number 5 being reels. Like, you shouldn't even be doing reels if you don't even have the right content in your stories or in your feed. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just not something to get tripped on and feel like you have to do it because you have reels.
Right.
So I really school people in a way that makes sense as a system and a process, which is how my business is completely run. And that's how I like to teach.
So if we can say those 5 again, in order of
difficulty
or in order of priority for a new person.
Yeah.
Corresponds to difficulty.
Yeah. Number 1 is you need to establish yourself as an authority, and you do that by the content in your feed. Mm-hmm. 2, stories support the content in your feed and amplify the content in your feed and can drive engagement conversations through the Instagram direct message, which I love. And, last month, we did over $200,000 just like using the tactics that I teach in my advanced coaching. Like, and I'm not saying buy my shit DMs and I think you want to buy this, or I think you want to sign up for that. I'm like, I don't even know your name. I never met you. Don't spam me in the DM. Mm-hmm. Like, that happens all day. So I report all of those people because that's not how you do Instagram. You do Instagram by like connecting with people in the feed and commenting and engaging and finding some aspect of their business that you actually do like and are attracted to. It's not buy my shit. So, stories is 2. 3 is IGTV, the channel that we talked about. Live is 4 because most people have a heart attack just with the thought of going live. I'm a speaker, so I thrive on this. And 5 is reels, because it really is. There's so many nuances in reels between the music and the text and the movement and the time period. It's like, to master a reel and get someone's attention, you have to really understand good video production.
Is it fair to correlate the sort of hierarchy that you just gave to the relative degree of warmth versus coldness? Like, it sounds from the way
you talk about the audience.
Yeah, obviously your feed, that's people that are like on your feed looking at you. Whereas a reel, you're saying that's almost designed for Explorer to reach new people that have never met you before. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. And if people like your reel, I mean, my reach on my reels, like the engagement is massive and it's attracting new people. But I gauge success always on conversations. Always. I could care less how many likes I get, how many followers I have. When there are real conversations and comment threads, meaning a conversation within a comment, so more people are talking about a point that you made. To me, that's success. So, yes, numbers, people all have egos and want bigger numbers everywhere. I'm about community and conversations, because conversations lead to conversions when they're done well. For example, in the Instagram direct message, if someone has watched my story and taken a poll, and my poll was about, was it like my two-factor authentication? At the end, I said, was this helpful? Yes, it was helpful. And the second part of the poll was, I turned it on. So anyone that stopped in their tap and took action is a warmer lead and is someone that I typically would send an Instagram direct message to and just saying, I'm so glad that you turned on double authentication. And then I would let them comment back and say, oh my God, I love your YouTube channel. Oh my God, I'm obsessed with your Instagram account. And then I would send them a quick reply, which is a feature on Instagram where you can use text expanders. You can use 20 quick replies. And I will send them access to my free training. And they always thank me. I'm not sending them the free training first. I'm having a conversation and they're thanking me and they're wanting more. And the best thing that I can give my followers is my free hour training. It's a little over an hour about the 3 keys to attracting more engaged followers and buyers. And yes, it's a webinar. Yes, we have a sales pitch at the end, but even if you don't buy, you walk away with learning right out of the gate. It is not one of these webinars where you're like, oh, that was a waste of my time.
So let me just go ahead and interject. How can people, I always ask this at the end, but I'll ask right now. So how would people go get that right now? Because it sounds amazing.
Oh, SubiZimmerman.com/3 keys to anyone that just wants it. But we have UTM links for all over the internet, meaning for those of you that don't know, we track all of our traffic for every lead magnet, and so that we know where traffic is coming in from. And typically I would have had Kate on my team send you a special UTM link so that we could track it from this podcast, but that's okay. So
well, we'll still get that and we'll still put it in the description and on the YouTube channel as well. UTM, for those who don't know, it actually stands for Urchin Tracking Module, but which is clunky, but basically it's like how Google Analytics reads your link, can track anything from anywhere for anyone.
Yeah. We look at our data. Yeah. We look at our data for whenever we're in a launch, for all the links that we've shared from ads, from Twitter, from Instagram, from Facebook, and we are able to establish where most of our traffic for that sale came in from. And it's always, number one is always emails.
What's your handle on Instagram? It seems like an obvious place to start in getting to know you.
Well, it's the Instagram expert, but I want your listeners to know I used to have 7 accounts and I had my personal name, Subi Zimmerman. I closed that account because of these 5 neighborhoods now. So it used to be when I started, I had the Instagram expert as my quote unquote business account and Subi Zimmerman as my personal account. But as my brand and business evolved and grew, it was so hard keeping up with 2 accounts and they were kind of melding into each other. And my audience was getting dizzy watching me post on both accounts and do stories on both accounts. So we made, I had over 65,000 followers there and we decided, let's shut that down, close it. It's still active with my name. If you search it, it comes up. But the Instagram expert is where I have 116,000 followers at the time of this recording. And that's where I create content every day.
I will share that I did the exact same thing. I was getting, and this was before I really had much going on Instagram, but I realized it was going to be exhausting trying to nurture 2 accounts. And to your point, or at least my experience is that people that are interfacing with your business, they actually do want to get to know the person behind the business. I guess it's different if you're a professional soccer team or something, and they just want pics of the athletes and the facilities or whatever. But if you're a personal branded business, I mean, is it actually, I want to circle back on this point to something you said earlier. You said, nobody cares about your vacations and we don't necessarily want to see your kids. Is that true? Or
if you just as look at my kids, aren't they cute? Look at my vacation. If you're going to show that in the backdrop of who you are and what you do, there needs to be some relevancy to who you are and what you do. It can't just be, look at my beautiful life over here. I'm a multimillionaire and I'm living the dream. It can't, it has to be more substance than that.
And do you accomplish that? Because I know this is where people struggle, and I struggled with it for a long time. Is I feel like I have to be so creative just to come up with something to post.
Well, this is where you plan your content in advance. We use a tool called Plannable that I can share a link with your listeners. I am a partner. We have this is where you can plan everything, so you're not living on the app. You want to make sure that you are strategic and you're smart, like everything else, because we plan out 3 weeks in advance our whole content, for Instagram. Okay. And we have a content calendar. And
yeah, we'll get that link. I see you just shared the link. We'll get that into all the descriptions as well. It sounds, planning, as somebody who has in the last year gone from not hating, I don't hate anything. That's too strong a word. Resisting Instagram because it was just annoying to me. It seemed to be a big popularity contest, and I did really well in digital marketing without an Instagram. So I'm like, why do I need this? To now realizing how valuable it really is. I mean, for example, I started this podcast. Every single guest goes and they don't check me out on, I have this great YouTube. I have 400 free training videos on YouTube. Why don't they go look at that?
It's easy to go on Instagram, and it's everyone's favorite app. It literally is the news. It is creativity. It is inspiration. It is funny, humorous. It is really where everyone goes to check someone out first.
It really is. And so I don't think anymore that you have the luxury of burying your head in the sand like I did for a long time. Now I'm like, I should have done this 5 or 10. Well, apparently as of today, I could have done it 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Then I have a couple questions. So on this 2-factor authentication thing, it may sound like a small thing to people, but I can attest that if you start to lean into Instagram strategy, you may reach a point where you want some help. And, you have people maybe assisting on your direct messages, or you even, especially if you pre-schedule your posts, you want to connect like a Agorapulse or Hootsuite. Although Hootsuite doesn't seem to play that nice with Instagram. But actually, a lot of those platforms, the scheduling platforms, don't play that nice with Instagram. They seem to have a really, onerous API. So you almost reach a point where it's like, I do need to have somebody else logging into my Instagram to help me. How are we supposed to do that in this world that you're describing?
So I have a lot of team members that are logged in. So it's just the initial time that they log in that you need to confirm that is indeed someone logging in to your account. Instagram will send you an email, and they'll say, if this isn't you, then tap here. If this isn't your phone, tap here. So my video on YouTube is a little over 3 minutes. So every single person listening should either have 2-factor authentication on or go watch that stat.
So you're not saying that you can't have other people accessing your Instagram?
Oh, no, not at all. I have a team that accesses mine for reasons that I have people doing ads for me and looking at insights, and you have to have some trust.
Yeah, I probably have a dozen people that access mine. So I'm like really hoping I don't have to clamp that down, because I don't want to do all that work. Okay, so let me ask you another question. Again, I'm sort of being selfish and like, well, let's talk about my situation. But like, I just know, because as somebody in the last year who's gone from resisting Instagram to embracing it, like I've been through these curves that a lot of people are going to go through as they start to embrace the platform. Almost 2 years ago, I started this Jeff Lerner official profile from nothing. I did exactly what I now know is the worst thing to do in the world, which is I hired a service to help me get followers.
Yep.
You and everybody else. Yeah, they swore there was no software involved and it was all manual people. Well, whether it was or not didn't seem to matter. I got to around 3,000 followers, and then I remember one day I was getting several hundred likes per post, and then it dropped from several hundred to like 3. Mm-hmm. Because I assume I got what they call a shadow ban.
They did something shady. That's what happened.
Instagram started essentially suppressing my organic reach. It was a total mess for almost a year. I couldn't hardly get anything to surface. And then, if you go to my Instagram now, I have almost 22,000 followers. I'm not kidding. 6 months ago, I still just had 3,000 followers. In fact, 3 months ago, I might have had like 5,000. something happened in the last 3 months where I have days where I get 1,000 or 1,500 followers. I have no idea where they're coming from. Do you have, now I have other days where I get 1,000 likes, like on an IGTV video or something. And I assume that just, appeared in some kind of rotation. People like the video, but because here's the thing, if I can figure out what I'm doing to have these random days of like 1,000 followers, I want to bottle that, duplicate it, teach it, sell it, like whatever. Do you have any clue what would trigger that?
Well, if you're not even doing your Instagram and you have your team of 12 doing it, I can't answer it for you. Like, it sounds like you're not even a part of the content creation.
Well, no, I create all the content. And it always seems to happen on days when I do a live and I save it to IGTV. Is that ringing?
Well, IGTV has more reach. So that's IGTV. Instagram is favoring IGTV.
Okay. So the neighborhoods then, Instagram doesn't treat all the neighborhoods equally in terms of what ultimately everybody wants, which is to acquire a new and larger following, right?
What I said earlier, which is true, is that Instagram is favoring in the algorithm Reels and IGTV right now. So that could explain it for you. Okay.
And how recent is that shift in their algorithm?
Honestly, I don't know.
And how long do these things, do you have any, that's the biggest thing about Instagram. It's like, they don't tell you anything. They seem to change it all the time. They roll out new features, and how does it fit in with the overall strategy? And this is a total setup, by the way, for your course. Is there like a go-to place where people can say, this is the almanac of Instagram? I lobbed that for you.
Yeah. That's fine. I honestly, like I told you earlier, I've been teaching it for 8 years. A lot has changed. The thing about my course is we update it every year and you have lifetime access. So for those that are like, oh my God, Instagram changes all the time. The algorithm changes, the features change, the neighborhoods are added, the village is growing. It is. And it can make you dizzy. It can make you want to quit. It can make you say, I'm not doing Instagram. I'm going to have my team do it. And then there's I don't get what you're doing. I have no idea, because your team is not in your head.
Right.
So it's just everything goes back to strategy and high level strategy for me. Always has.
Do you think that somebody can be really, really successful? First of all, can somebody grow a really, really thriving business solely by focusing on Instagram as a marketing platform?
Of course. One of my twin daughters has. You don't even need a website.
Okay.
On Instagram. Instagram.
No Facebook, no YouTube, no LinkedIn, no website, just Instagram.
You can start that way and test an idea. And if you grow an audience and there's conversation around what your idea is, then I would get a website, but you can start an idea. I used to, for my store on the Cape, I often would post on Pinterest the products that I wanted to sell. And if they got repinned in a certain period of time, I knew it was an item that people wanted, and then I would buy the inventory.
Oh, interesting. That's really cool.
That's wicked smart.
Yeah, it is. Spoken like a true Cape Codder. What's a resident of Cape Cod called? Certainly, it's not
I don't know.
Codder.
It's like Boston. It's like more Boston.
Okay, so then, what about within the neighborhoods? You talked about the order of difficulty and kind of priority for a new person. What would be like the minimum viable strategy that would allow somebody to really, really leverage Instagram effectively without feeling like they have to ultimately explore all 5 of these neighborhoods? Because 5 is a lot, honestly.
Yeah. Like I said, it starts with the bio, and it starts with doing market research. I would tell all your listeners to go and look at accounts, brands, businesses that they admire, like, respect, and sit down and take the time to put together a strategy. Most people just post and ghost, meaning they don't even stick around to comment and engage. So if you're not sticking around for the party, which is engagement, conversation, and relationship building, you're not doing Instagram correctly.
Post and ghost. You've got some good, you must do this for a living or something. You've got some really great one-liners.
Yeah, I know. Kind of.
Okay.
You got to be entertaining too. So there's that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I mean, there is that for sure. So again, I guess you said do some research. So my question was, what's the minimum viable strategy around maximizing, or maybe not maximizing, but effectively utilizing Instagram?
So
Do some research. What would they be researching?
Effectively utilizing Instagram is different for everybody. Like what's the outcome that you want? Do you want to grow your email list? Do you want to grow your YouTube channel? Do you want to sell your course? Do you want to get people on your webinar? Like it's all relative to what your goals are. I have goals every week. So the content I'm creating helps me reach my goals. So if you are just throwing spaghetti at the wall on Instagram, you are not going to have success, period. Like you might think that you're famous or you have likes. Like, I don't care. Like, good for you. It doesn't matter.
I heard a really interesting statistic the other day, and I haven't verified it, but it came from a pretty credible person. They said the average person who puts Instagram influencer or internet influencer on their tax return as their actual profession makes an average of about $30,000 a year. So I say that because I want everybody to hear exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how many followers you have. It doesn't matter how many likes you have. I appreciate that you're a self-confident enough person that you don't care about those things. Unfortunately, most people are obsessed with them. And if they don't get the dopamine hit, they like feel like they failed. And the reality is, I know people who have 500,000 and 1 million followers, and they have a 3-person content team and a video guy and a photographer that follows them around all the time.
And they don't make any money.
Yeah, they make $80,000 a year and they pay their team all 40. And they're living, in a trailer on ramen.
Yeah, I know. That's not my audience. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
The other thing I want, before we wrap up, the other thing I want to point out for you and your account, you are immediately driving people to a download that doesn't even explain what it is. There's no connection to you. It feels extremely markety heavy. Free download reveals fastest way to becoming a millionaire. Like what makes you the fastest? Like there's no Jeff in this. There's a random guy with his briefcase walking across a screenshot, and this is the disconnect that I'm talking about. There's no branding. There's no feeling of you. There's no video. It's just like fastest way to becoming a millionaire. So that feels yucky, and I would never ever trust an Instagram account like that.
So even though my bio says from playing piano to $50 million online, want the fastest way to become a millionaire, DM me book to get the book.
No, I mean, your bio needs a lot of work. I'm not going to workshop it right now.
Yeah, of course. Here's what's funny. This is everything you just described, the DM sequence, the bio, expensive consultant designed all of it.
Well, that expensive consultant is exactly the person that I pretty much block and report on Instagram every day because it's bullshit.
It's funny. Yeah. I mean,
so let's summarize. To sum up this whole interview, if anyone is walking away with anything from Subi, it's leading with integrity. It's leading with building relationships, building your authority as the go-to influencer, expert, educator in your little industry or niche. And it's building, it's building like a kinder world. Like, come on, like right now more than ever, people want to feel compassion and connected. And this heavy marketing, digital, I'm just going to say it, primarily guys, because women just don't market as hard and aggressively, in my opinion, from my experience. Mm-hmm. And it just feels desperate. It feels like, hey, let's be a millionaire. Like, who doesn't want to be a millionaire? Like, everyone wants to be a millionaire. Like, I'm fortunate to be the 1%, but I never walk around with leading or showing anything in my Instagram about my lifestyle that shows off the money that I have. I just don't. It's not the thing that people are attracted to. And if you think that that's the thing that's going to get you paying customers, I ask you to just take a check on your core values.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting perspective, because Instagram is so, it seems to be in conflict with itself because, listen, I've run, I mean, being, I guess, fully frank, I've run a million different headlines when it comes to, hey, I teach people how to build businesses in the new economy. Like if you want to learn to affiliate market, if you want to learn to start an agency, if you want to learn to build an e-com store, all the things that are available now that weren't available to people 20 years ago, that's what I teach. That's what my business teaches.
Well, then that should be in your bio because it's not.
Well, I've tried a lot, and not so much the Instagram bio, because again, I was kind of a late comer to Instagram. But when it comes to like marketing headlines, I mean, we've split test video headlines to the nth degree. And at the end of the day, if you want to grab people's attention and you want to convert, and I mean, bear in mind, I spend $500,000 a month on online ads. So I'm not saying this from a small base of experience. By far and away, the best converting ads are discover the fastest way to become a millionaire. And I'm not talking about people that buy a $12 course and then refund. I'm talking about a multiple 8-figure a year business with extremely high satisfaction, really happy, really enthusiastic, loyal customers, and almost zero refunds and chargebacks. But you got to get their attention. So I've run things like want to spend more time with your kids, want to fire your boss, want to work from home, want to level up all aspects of your life, want to have time to work out, want to be able to afford therapy to improve your marriage, want to be able to stick with a workout program. Like I've hit every angle, and nobody wants to stop and listen unless it's about how to make money. And it's the most frustrating part about what I do because it is the thing I hate talking about the most. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to talk about anything else. My core values, my number one core value is we eagerly do hard things well. I'd rather talk to people about how to level up and live like a Navy SEAL. Nobody wants to hear it. They just want money. Mm-hmm. So what do you say? I'm curious. What do you say to that? Again, I'm not speaking about my opinion. This is millions of data points of split.
I think if you lead with authority and not income, there's a complete shift in attracting the same kind of people the same way.
I pray for a world in which you're correct. And I'm willing.
My world. I mean, the way that I teach Instagram and the way that I run my businesses, it's just the world that you're in.
Yeah, it's interesting because every platform has its, and by the way, I'm hearing you loud and clear. I'm going to go back to my team and be like, listen, guys, we got to relook at this. But every platform seems to have its own idiom. And, Instagram, maybe you're right. Maybe Instagram has a more, for lack of a better way to say it, maybe a more feminine, more holistic ethos. But I'll tell you straight up, you want to get people's attention on Facebook and YouTube, show them the money. That's probably why you like Instagram. Anyways, listen, I like, seriously, I appreciate so much the value here. And you're clearly a wizard when it comes to Instagram. And you've given me personally a ton to think about. And I'm confident the audience too. Your Instagram, I want people to be able to go into your world further. You said on Instagram, you are the Instagram expert.
Yeah, the Instagram expert. On YouTube, I'm Subi Zimmerman. I think a lot of your audience will appreciate those quick win videos. They're mostly under 5 minutes, so you can walk away learning. And I mean, I keep it real. I have a no bullshit personality. I always have. And because I've been very successful since my early 20s, and I've had 18 businesses, and I just know how to make money doing what I love. But I don't lead with the money piece. So it works. It works my way too.
Very cool. Yeah, no, I love it. Trust me. I would love it if people would just go, Jeff, how do you stay in such good shape? And I could say, well, I have time to work out because I don't have to clock into a job. And they go, how do you do that? Let's talk about that. I would love that angle. Everybody just wants to know about the money. That's why I got these plaques on the wall. At least they give me a shortcut to showing that I've made money online, I don't have to talk about it. But that's what people respond to. Anyways, thanks for being on Millionaire Secrets. This has been awesome. You're going to hate this, by the way. I will tell you that we put together a special offer with this book that you
don't like.
A fan of.
No.
But if people go to millionairesecrets.com/Sue Z, which I noticed also spells Suez, like Suez Canal. millionairesecrets.com/Sue Z. You can download your free copy of the Millionaire Shortcut, which will teach you the fastest way to get in shape, stay at home with your kids, and do all this cool stuff that has nothing to do with money. That's Sue B. Zimmerman approved. Also might make a lot of money. Anyway, thanks, Sue.
You're welcome. You just need to change the cover so I can relate to you a little bit more instead of this random clip art with
that is home run advice. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm like,
it's pathetic.
Why is he on my book? So you're spot on about that. Thank you for your time, Sue. This has been really fun.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Thank you for watching Millionaire Secrets. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and leave us a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you know whenever we release a new episode. Also, if you want to learn the fastest way to become a millionaire in the new economy, click the link in the description below to claim your free copy of my book, The Millionaire Shortcut. And don't forget, Millionaire Secrets is available on all the major podcast platforms as well. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts so you can listen on the go. Thanks for watching.